Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Trilogy Deluxe Class Mirage. Now the box is actually really quite nice for these Siege figures. We have the Siege War for Cybertron Trilogy, Autobot Mirage, nice Autobot symbol here. We have the window for the figure, fan voted selection, basically this is a fan vote figure, not everyone will have this strip. Transformers, Takara Tony Generations, and we have Hasbro here. Because these figures are actually made by Takara and Hasbro, Hasbro does Western releases for Transformers, Takara does Asian or just Japanese releases. Top we have the nice Autobot symbol, for Cybertron Siege Trilogy. This window here is actually to let light down from the top so you can see the figure better. Legal information, we have a beautiful Siege poster that hints several characters that we haven't got yet. I know there's Wheeljack somewhere around here, and he's actually going to be in Earthrise. And on the back, we have it takes 19 steps of transformation. We have another accessory figure you can buy. A couple of them with Battle Masters for kind of buy more stuff, have more fun. On the other side, we have some nice Mirage artwork. Now, I've actually removed his accessories to show off his articulation, because his gun does get in the way of it a bit. You've got a ball joint at the head, which allows for slight up and down movement. You get more down than up, and a fairly tight swivel, at least on my figure. Arms we have all the way out, straight out. We have a full rotation. And this shoulder pad actually does move independently to the arm, so you can have them flat against, you can have them straight up, or you can have them at a slight angle to be like, for a more dynamic look. He has a swivel at the upper arm, he goes to 90, his hand does move in, but that is for the transformation, and you can use this transformation point as a sort of forward facing butterfly joint. At the waist we have no forward and back, but we do have a lovely rotation, goes full 360. The legs we have forward, back, straight out, and a thigh swivel here. We have just about 90 at the leg, I think actually just under 90 I think, because of transformation points. But at the foot we have forward and back that is actually for the transformation, and a lovely pivot. So he can actually get a rather wide stance with this articulation, and he's solid enough and balanced enough to keep into many poses. Most poses I've actually tried of him actually stay really well. I haven't had him falling over too much. So the design and sculpt of this figure is something I like to call modernised G1 or modern classic Transformers. It takes the original look for Mirage, but it adds a modern flair. All the sculpted in mechanical detail, the additional Cybertronian text, all the intricately sculpted and crafted parts, all adds a modern feel to a rather classic design. This design is the actual head design is actually really nice. You've got his typical like dome helmet, lovely heroic face with really well painted blue eyes. The body also has some really nice like sculpting that doesn't overpower the figure, and it just adds a bit more detail. Now you could panel line it for it to stand out a bit more, but I don't think it needs to. It's also really well painted throughout. And actually where the painting is really nice. Doesn't feel like it's going to chip. I haven't had a single issue with it. Like, there's a bit of mess where it was printed here, but that's printed on text going over a raised bit here. Also, the clear plastic used for the legs really stand out and add an extra element to the figure that I think is sorely needed. If this was solid blue, I think it would be a bit too overpowering, and it also works well into Mirage as a as a character who kind of turns invisible and creates holograms, so it does have that kind of invisible / hologram feel to it. The back is also really tidy, really well sculpted, with the wheels filling in the gaps here. The legs are a bit messy with the entire front of the car mode just hanging off the back, but that's the only kibble on the figure. Yeah, you could say these are kibble, but they add an extra bit of dynamism to the figure. Also, the wheels on the back, really well tidy away. There is a bit of an issue on the inside of the arms with them being hollow, but that is for the transformation, and I'd rather have hollow arms than just hands sticking off the car mode. Now, as for accessories go, Mirage actually comes with 3 really interesting pieces. He has his blaster, beautifully sculpted, just like the G1 Accurate. He has this black gun with a grey handle that is meant to be mounted on the shoulder. And if we pop in this piece, he has a missile. This actually can go with other figures and their shoulder cannons, I believe. Here it is on the Deluxe Class Hound from Wave 1. It looks quite nice and it does do a good job at completing some looks. Now, there is one issue with that, with it having a handle for it to be held. When you've got it on the shoulder, you do have this handle just hanging about. You can twist it to hide it from certain angles, but the handle does look a bit ugly. But overall, the accessories are actually really good on this figure. This car mode is absolutely beautiful. It is based off a Formula 1 car, and it doesn't seem very accurate to a Formula 1 car, especially with rather aerodynamic pieces up here, clear closed cockpit, the front end of a car hanging off the back and the front, but it does look good. And they're not meant to look like real vehicles, they're meant to look like Cybertronian kind of versions of real world vehicles, and it does work for that aesthetic. Now, he does have 2 ports to store his weapons on, one here, one here, and they're the only siege ports on the vehicle mode, which is a shame actually, because one of the best things about the siege line is the ability to kind of combine different weapons on vehicles, especially with the weaponizer figures, and kind of come up with these crazy combinations on your own. But with only 2 ports, I don't know, it feels a bit underwhelming. But I don't know what they could have done with the clear plastic, because clear plastic is a lot more brittle, a lot more breakable than the non-clear plastic, so having a siege hole would have probably caused more figure breakages. Now time for the big question. Is this figure worth picking up? Absolutely yes. For a £20 deluxe class figure, you can't really go wrong. Fantastic painting, good accessories, nice sculpting, good transformation, nice looking vehicle mode. If you're a fan of G1 Transformers, if you're a fan of Mirage, if you're a fan of Transformers in general, or if you're looking to get into Transformers, this is a good place to start.